and welcome to episode number 35 of the Final Whistle. I am Kyle. Mark is not here today as he is feeling a little under the weather, so you will be stuck with me for this week, but I'm still happy to have you. Happy you're tuning in and listening to today's show, but we have a great show lined up. And first off, from the bottom of our hearts, we want to say thank you to everybody that came in last week for the live show on TikTok or YouTube. It was an amazing show, great chats, great chatter with everything. We had a great topic of kind of going over NFL frenzy, so a free agency frenzy. So we appreciate you guys coming in and chatting with us and keeping the chat moving. So we appreciate you guys. We will be doing it again the last Wednesday in April of this month. By the time this recording gets released, April 29th, we will work on a time for you. It'll probably be more closer to 9 o'clock again, just with our personal schedules and all that. But yeah, so April 29th, 9 o'clock, right here live on YouTube. We'll do another live chat, and I believe that's the Wednesday after the NFL draft, so it'll probably be a draft recap more than anything. So, but once again, we thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming in and supporting and keeping the chat moving. Also, we want to say Happy Easter to everybody. We want to be one of the first to say Happy Easter to everybody. I know it's a big week, holiday week and all that. People don't got work. People do got work. But we just want to say have a great weekend. Happy Easter weekend. If you're going out, I know the Guardians got their home opener this weekend. If you're just going out to celebrate, just please be safe. Please be, conscious and aware of your surroundings as well. Don't be stupid. You know what to do. And, when you're partying and, all that fun stuff. So please be safe and enjoy the holiday weekend ahead. All right, well, what a weekend it was, huh? We got a lot of things to catch you up on, kind of like a housekeeping show, if you will, to kind of catch things up. But let's talk. We have our Final Four is set. We have 4 teams remaining in the NCAA tournament. They are number 2, they are Arizona, and we'll take on Michigan. They are both 1 seeds. They've both been favorite the whole entire season to win it all. Now they come to a head. And then you got in the other bracket, surprising Illinois takes on, it ain't Duke. It is UConn. UConn with the stunner last night, the time's recording, on Sunday in Washington, D.C. as they defeated Duke. And we will start there as UConn pulled the upset. And Duke was up 15 points in that game. They had a great lead. And it was like, okay, Duke was going to cruise. Duke was going to cruise all the way to the Final Four, but as a good phrase say, UConn said, not so fast, my friend, as UConn comes back with the game-winning shot pretty much after Duke kind of folded under pressure. As UConn shoots a buzzer beater, pretty much a buzzer beater, and sends Duke home packing. So they get Illinois. So, no, that was a crazy game. And the stat was, I know most of you probably saw it, but the stat was 134-0 was the bracket, was the teams, if you were for 1 seeds leading at the half. And that is, wow. Like, I would think that's more of a jinx. Like, there was literally a 15-point lead, and they just blew it. I don't understand how. I don't understand how, it seemed they were just cruising, right? They were cruising down. They thought, okay, this was going to be it. They were going to run away with it, and it would be 2 duds of an Elite Eight. One was an Elite of an Elite Eight. We'll get to that in a little bit. But Illinois, as UConn, with the stunner, and you cannot count out Daniel Hurley. Now, I'm going to go off the preface to say, I'm going to go back to what I said before this tournament starts. Duke always chokes. They always choke, whether they're 1 seed, 2 seed, 5 seed, 4 seed, whatever seed they are. They always choke. And it's an example. I knew it. I knew they weren't going to make to the Final Four regardless of who they played. I had them losing to Michigan State, but they lost to UConn instead. But there's some about Duke that when the pressure's on, they just fold. And you saw it right there. Carlos Boozer, all he had to do was hold on to the ball and draw a foul. He was getting trapped. I believe they had 1 timeout left as well. So, and they fell under pressure. And you could kind of tell towards the end of the second half and how they went about about it. UConn was just coming back. It was like they were kind of lulling Duke to sleep, like, okay, here we go. We're just going to kind of play to our advantage, thinking that they're just going to run away with it. make some adjustments, and come out firing. And that's what they did. They came out firing, and now they took advantage of Duke. And that is a very, very hard. That was a very tough task, but they did it. And they are the 2 seed coming out of the East region. And I don't know what Duke is. John Shire. The question is John Shire the right guy to lead this Duke team to a national championship? The past couple of years, ever since he's taken over for Coach K, he hasn't fallen. He has not. He has fallen. He has not recovered. And this is interesting because you have a great player, a talented freshman, Carlos Boozer, who will probably come back one more year before he declares for the draft. So, if not, and we always post a question on the show, if not now, when for Duke? They had one of the most talented teams. They were the number 1 overall seed. They beat Michigan, who is still in the tournament, and they should have beat UConn. UConn, I wouldn't say not matched or not but I mean UConn, they were dead to rights, and UConn doesn't play they don't even play in a good conference. They play in the Big East, where all those teams, half the teams didn't even make the field of 68. So this is very interesting, but very interesting how Duke's offseason goes, because it's every year they run the table or they get at least the 2 or 3 seed, and then they fall short. And is it the coaching? Is it the players? Is it the recruiting? Is it the NIL? I don't know. And there's gonna be some tough offseason. Look in the mirror if you're Duke when you have a result like this that just they can't get out of their own way when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Granted, they ran the table in the ACC tournament and won that, but they just can't get out of their own way. I don't know what it is. They get to March and it's like they're deer in headlights. Like they just fall, they just freeze, and they just don't ever show up. It's just weird how it happens. Like everybody talks about, oh, Duke this, Duke that, everything in between, and then this is the result. You get the result of failure, and if you're Duke faithful, I don't get how you could support. Now, I doubt they're going to fire John Schneider at least this year because of the success they had this season, only having like 4 losses, I believe. But at the same time, how much longer are you going to put up with this? Because now he was handpicked by Coach K, so that's given him a little more leash as well. When Coach K did retire, he picked him to lead. But it's interesting. It's a very interesting way when you got a team that you thought you would have had winning, or you thought you would have had going all the way. Granted, the region was a bracket of hell, as Mark called it. It was a bracket from hell because you had UConn, Michigan State, Kansas, St. John's. Like Duke, writing was on the wall in the first round when you had to come back from behind from Siena, the 16th seed, to win. And then TCU, you had to struggle with TCU a little bit, but obviously pulled away. St. John's was almost down to the wire on Friday night, and then this happened. So I think the inevitable was there, and Duke just met their match, met their calling, and they fell short. So, like I said, it's a big offseason. But you turn to UConn. UConn was really not one of the favorites coming in after, kind of struggling to get into 2 seed. There was questions about that. What now? If I'm St. John's, I'm kind of questioning this too now, because you beat UConn in the Big East final to get the automatic bid, but they would have been in anyways if they won or lost that conference tournament. So you get in the tournament, but you're short. You are a lower seed than the team you beat. So if I'm St. John's, I'm kind of fed up because you could have probably seen Duke in Elite Eight and beat them. So I would be frustrated if I was St. John's, because now you got this. If you see your conference foe going all the way to the Final Four right now, and you're just like, well, why couldn't that be us? Why couldn't we get that? So that's the thing. I think maybe in the offseason, I would like to hear more of a reason from the committee why UConn was ranked at 2. Is it the money grab? Is it granted, both teams, they're history basketball programs, but you beat the team and you're lower than them, which I don't. Team Michigan State, they lost in the first round of their conference tournament. Kansas, they lost semifinals, I think, of the Big 12 tournament. So, but then you have St. John's this low. It makes 0 sense. Now, I'm sorry. Like, if I was a St. John's fan, I'd be upset about it too. I'd be upset about it that this could have been your spot. This could really been your spot. You could have made headway. You could have gone to the Final Four, but here you are. You're stuck. You're stuck at home, and UConn's moving on. So I think there's be a lot more questions than answers on how the seeding process goes. I mean, you could say it for maybe a couple other teams. I'm just looking at this bracket, and maybe Santa Clara could have been a 9 seed instead of a 10 seed, or I'm just looking at some of this bracket here. Maybe an Iowa Clemson flip. It just depends. It's just weird how it all shaped out, and it's just some controversy. Not a lot of people are talking about it. It's what stood out to me, and I'm sure if we would talk to some St. John's fans, they might feel the same way, especially when the bracket did come out a couple of weeks ago. But so UConn's moving on but on the other hand, you got Illinois comes out of the Big Ten. They they defeated Penn in the first round, VCU in the second. He pulled the upset against Houston in the Sweet 16, and then beat conference foe Iowa in the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four. So hey, that's good for them. I personally, for Illinois, I thought they would probably fall flat, maybe in the round of 32, but I thought they would fall flat and choke. But here they are. They're running away with everything, and they're setting up nicely. Now they got to take on a UConn team, which is going to be an interesting matchup. Granted, let's say Michigan. We'll talk about Michigan in a minute, but Illinois lost the conference to Michigan by 4 games. That's how good Michigan was this year, and UConn came up runner-up and came up the second. But UConn's favorited or underdog. I don't know how Illinois is favored. I'll be honest with you. Illinois is favored by, I think, 1 or 2.5. I don't know. That's a weird line to me. Obviously, it's probably going to fluctuate a little bit as we get going with this, but just what Illinois did. I mean, Illinois didn't really have a great finish to the season. They lost in the second round, or the quarterfinal of the Big Ten tournament, and then you got to face Penn, which they face a former Big Ten coach, Fran McCaffrey, who they beat, VCU, who pulled the upset in North Carolina. So they kind of had, besides Houston, which they played well against Houston, and Houston's another team. When the pressure's on, they fold, and they folded. So who knows if they'll ever get to a national championship anytime in their future, especially with Kelvin Sampson at the helm. But Illinois, they're playing. They're fair, but I still think they're playing underdog mentality. You're playing, against UConn and one of the better teams in the country, and Illinois has a chance to make a statement here to continue to carry the Big Ten on their back along with Michigan and maybe get an all Big Ten final. Who knows? But Brad Underwood, he's a decent coach. He's a good coach. He could lead the team, and hey, they finally broke through the ceiling and are into the Final Four and get that Final Four treatment. And they're catching out the right time, which is good. Do I like the way they're playing? I don't know, maybe. But, who knows how they would have fared out against Florida if they would have gotten to Florida. Would they be in Florida? But, they've cemented themselves. Now they have a chance to cement themselves again against a better team in UConn coming up this Saturday. So, this will be an interesting matchup. There's a lot to talk about with this matchup. As I'm looking at this bracket right now. I'm like, the teams they could have played. Iowa had some good defense. Iowa was leading halfway through this game almost, and big with their defense and their 3-pointer. But Illinois was able to overcome that in the Elite Eight. I don't know if Illinois will make. Let's see. This is a hard game. I like UConn. I don't understand why they're favorites, or why Illinois is favorite. I'm going to keep going back to that. I'm watching that line, and I don't know. I would not be surprised that line flips before we get to Saturday at 6 o'clock. The way Illinois is, I don't see it at all. I could be wrong with everything, but Illinois didn't really. Besides Houston, they really didn't have They had a weird path to get there. Who knows how they would have fared against North Carolina? Who knows how they would have fared against Florida? So it's just what ifs at this point. But hey, you're there, Illinois. You're playing with house money right now. You're playing with a lot of support. You're playing with a lot of momentum right now. So you just never know. It is March/April, and it's still the tournament. Anything can happen, as we've seen in the last couple of rounds with Florida going down, Iowa State going down to Tennessee. You got, some upsets, obviously Duke. So this is a very interesting side of the bracket, and it kicks things off. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that goes. But for that game, I think I'm going. I think I'm going to Illinois. Or no, I'm going UConn. I, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going back and like I just don't understand this line. But I'm going UConn. I think UConn wins. I think it'll be close, but I think they'll eventually probably pull away at some point. I mean, who knows? I'll probably be wrong because that's how uneducated sometimes we are on this show. But I like Illinois or no UConn. I like UConn to beat Illinois in this one to get to the championship game to face the winner of our next thing we're going to talk about as Arizona and Michigan, the 2-1 seeds, come out of their respective regions as predicted and forecasted by most. And Arizona, Arizona and Michigan, both really, prior to two, I think Michigan caught themselves a break, to be honest with you, with how the bracket played out after losing to Purdue in the Big Ten tournament, having to face UMB or Howard, which they took care of that. St. Louis won by like 20. Then they had to take on Alabama, which they kind of struggled a little bit earlier on, but was able to pull away. And then Tennessee and the Elite Eight, which they ran out of the gym almost 40 points, so 40-point lead. So that was amazing way to run them out of the gym. And you got Arizona, who's sitting up there. They ran through Utah State and Arkansas and what else? They ran through Purdue. Purdue was hanging around with them for a little while, Arizona, before they pulled away. And this is going to be, I think the winner of this comes out. Now, you can't discredit UConn, but I think the winner of this game wins the national championship. I'm going to say that. I just think the winner of this is going to give UConn a run for their money because UConn could very well run away against Illinois and hide and not make this a game at all. But, yeah, I think the winner is going to have to take on a UConn team that's ready, but I think the winner of Arizona and Michigan is going to win the national championship. Michigan's they're peaking at the right time again. Remember, if you're a basketball fan, watch them in the Players Era tournament back in November. They were playing a lot of, they were playing a Gonzaga, they were playing San Diego State. I forgot the third team they were playing, but I'm trying to see. Are they in the bracket? Third team they were playing. They're playing Gonzaga, San Diego State. But I'm trying to off the top of my head. No, I'm not sure. I'll have to go back and look. But yeah, so they're peaking at the right time, winning by 40. In a tournament, and they were only favored by 8.5. And they struggled the first couple minutes of the game. Trying to feel the flow from Tennessee, and Tennessee was trying to body them down low and play a little tougher, and just show them who was boss at that time, but. And they tried to body Michigan, and Michigan was not having it. They gave it right back, and once Michigan gave it right back, Tennessee kind of folded. And then you had, the rest were atrocious for both teams, calling ticky-tack fouls. They missed a couple of goaltending calls. This crew was awful. They've ref a couple other games, and you could tell when you have those refs that are that you're gonna have problems with, whether it's NFL or college or whatever, or football, basketball, whatever. There's one of the ones when you have those problems, or when you see the referee, you're gonna have those problems. So they had those problems for sure. But Michigan was able to overcome that. They ran through their region to get through, and yeah, Arizona's gonna be tough. Arizona kind of struggled a little bit with teams, but they're gonna make it through. Now they're gonna play, a better team than what they have played, probably even in the conference. Compared even more so better team than what they played in the Big 12. They're playing, when they're playing Kansas and Houston. How really good is Kansas and Houston? Houston's a 2 seed, but they fell to Illinois, the 3 seed, which was a 2-3 game during that matchup. But who knows how good the Big 12 really is, as Arizona's hopes rely on them to win. So. This is interesting too as well, because you just got Michigan could match Arizona's size and speed and etc. And it's gonna be interesting Michigan's handled it before. They've handled it with not having their backup point guard LJ Casey, who's out with an ACL tear. Arizona's healthy for the most part. I think I'm gonna stick with my pick here. Can Michigan use their size down low with Adi Mara and Morez Johnson? If they could do that, I think they'll be just fine, because then it opens up the perimeter to shoot, and Arizona's got to be able to defend. Now, Michigan, on the other hand, has got to be able to defend that three. Literally the 1, 2, we'll go 3 games. 3 games in this tournament, they were literally getting beat off the 3-point line. They were literally like teams were shooting literally like in their bracket. I saw a stat. It was like Michigan's opponents were like the top 10, three of the top 10 team 3-point shooting count or 3-point shooting teams in the tournament were in Michigan's region, and they had to play them. Howard, St. Louis, and Bama, and luckily they had their size down low to kind of even it out, where they had to make a decision either to shoot a three or go down low. But then Michigan was able to capitalize on their threes as well for eventually running away with it in the end. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup. I think I'm gonna stick with Michigan. I think they're catching fire. They're hot at the right time right now. They're peaking. They're doing well. Now, would it surprise me if Arizona did win? No, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, okay, hats off to Arizona. They were able to take down Michigan and body them down and hit their shots. But I'm gonna stick with Michigan. I think we get Michigan and UConn in the national championship game, and then it decides the big one. What do you do? What do you do against Michigan, Ohio State, or Ohio State, Michigan, UConn? I think it's gonna be speed for UConn versus the size. You know what? Yeah, let's pick it because we're not gonna be live, or the time the new show comes out, the Natty will be over. So yeah, I'm gonna pick it. Mark has Michigan winning. He texted me. He wanted me to tell you he has Michigan winning it all. Unfortunately, because obviously he's a Ohio State fan, so he's got Michigan winning. I think Michigan wins. If it's you, I think regardless of who comes out of UConn, Illinois, I think Michigan will win as long as they get past Arizona. I just think this is their tournament to lose now, especially if they beat Arizona. They're going to be favorited in the finals. So give me Michigan. Especially against Illinois, they'll utilize Adi Morrow. They'll utilize, obviously, Morez Johnson, who transferred from Illinois, is going to want to beat him twice because Michigan beat him once in Illinois back in February. So I like Michigan. Give me Michigan to win it, to continue to win a national title. And we'll see next week. We'll talk about it probably in 2 weeks because of the time of these recordings come out. But yeah, so Michigan will win it. I think Michigan will win the national championship. Thank God that's a night game. I think that'd probably be the best game out of two, Michigan, Arizona. And it will be the nightcap, probably more like 8:45, 8:49-ish by the time the other game get done. But I like Michigan, UConn making it, and Michigan winning it in the March Madness to crown a national champion. And then that's it. We will be moving on. That's it, because after that, we're done with pretty much the big college. Well, we still have college hockey, some college baseball, softball, but like the basketball, football, that's it till September. So how fast time flies, right? When we're going along with this, and we are moving right along. And how fast we're already in April, the fourth month of 2026. Right now, we're gonna be back to football season and back to the holidays and all that. So it's going to be very, very interesting to say the least when it comes to the sports as we keep on going with the sports calendar. All right, there's some other news we're gonna touch on here. As I don't know, I'm sure most of you, including sports and golf fans, know. As there was breaking news over the weekend, is Tiger Woods was in another car crash. He was charged with a DUI, and he was arrested and charged with DUI after crash. His second one since 2017, and 2021. His first crash since 2021 when he had a rollover crash. And I was just looking at some of the statistics here, but some kind of like a timeline, if you will, reading up on this thing. As there's been a lot with this guy Tiger, and he's I would say he's probably one of the best golfers there is in the game. Now he's screwing up his life a little bit. He's screwing up his life by doing what he's doing. He had an accident, he rolled over, and he was drunk. Like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Get a ride. Call an Uber. Call somebody. You're literally putting your life at risk for stupidity. I don't understand. I don't understand the stupidity here. Like, I don't get it. You were gonna play. I think he was set up to play in the Masters too, and then he fell short, and then this is. I don't get it. You literally have kids. I'm speechless because when I saw this pop up the other day, I was just like, what in God's green earth the hell is going on here? I just Tiger, call somebody, hire a driver. You have so much money that all of us probably watching or me or Mark or everybody watching this would kill to have. Would kill to have. They would kill to have all that money. And, I don't get how stupid you could be to do this. And just looking at this timeline, is Golf Channel really put out a great timeline. If you go look, if you look on the Golf Channel website, it's a fascinating timeline. Just looking at all his kind of like accolades, and then obviously the drunk driving and accidents and all that. And I'm just looking. 2009, crashes his SUV into a tree and fire hydrant outside his Florida home. As, just these car accidents. He spent, in that accident, he spent 45 days in a clinic. Does not return to golf till 2022 Masters. This was 2009. Let's see. I'm going Then he had back surgeries. He had four surgeries right now. 2017, was arrested and briefly jailed in Jupiter, suspicion of DUI. Police found him asleep behind the wheel of his car in the early morning with his engine running. He attributes it to bad claim of the pain medication. Just looking, he comes back, wins the Tour Championship. 5th surgery in 2021 for his lower back. Woods single vehicle roll February 21st or February 23rd, 2021. Woods is involved in a single vehicle rollover crash outside of Los Angeles. Story says he's going 84, 87. Doctors say he suffered fractures, his lower sections, pretty much broke his leg. Significant trauma. So, just reading some of this, had surgery in his lower back again. Ruptures Achilles. 7th back surgery. So this is just, and you can find all this on golf.com. Find us on golf.com if you want to read up, I know, all the events that they put out. Fascinating article that they put out as I was reading. But I get it. You've had a tough go of it from pretty much, I'll say late 2000s, early 2010s. Let's put it that way. You have everything. I'm sure you have a nice house. I'm sure your kids. Like Charlie he was at FSU. He's going to Florida State for golf unless something happens. He's going to FSU. And he played with Charlie on a couple golf outings in the pros and all that. You're blowing all that away for your reckless driving and drinking. Now, not say you can't drink. You could drink. Go ahead. Drink a little heart out. But it's when you get behind the wheel. Call somebody. Stay home and drink. And you rolled over and you almost died again. It is asinine what you're doing, Tiger. It's just unbelievable what the hell you're doing. And I don't understand. Maybe someone could tell me, but when it just frustrates me. Like, you're willing to throw all that away, and now if it was somebody like me or lucky you didn't kill anybody. Supposedly there was another person in this crash who was okay and didn't need injury or didn't have much injuries, if very little. So luckily he didn't kill anybody, and the person he got in an accident with did not pass, or he's probably getting locked up for good for murder or attempted homicide or whatever they're called. But so he's very lucky that everybody walked away pretty much okay with this, and then he just got a DUI charge. Now we go back to the Myles Garrett thing, and when we say, if any other person, this is his second or third time, if any other person like me or Mark or any of you that are watching, we're probably going to jail, probably for a couple months maybe. But luckily he has the money to bail himself out. And if you guys saw the mugshot, it wasn't pretty. So I'm leaving the court or the jail, it wasn't pretty. And Tiger, you have fans too that support you, bro. They support you to death. And this is how you repay them. Now I get it, okay, once you do it once, hey, we all mess up, just let's work out, we're not gonna do it again, let's get better, blah blah blah. We're gonna get better, I'm not gonna do it again. But this is like a third time you've done it, maybe fourth. This is unbelievable, dude. This is really, really unbelievable what you did. Now, obviously, we can't speak for the family, but we can speak, how we feel about it. Like, how dumb are you? I mean, if this is how you go about your life, then fine, do it. Go do be please be do. But you're lucky. He's lucky, or Tiger, you're lucky you did not kill anybody. I know you're not listening to this, but obviously you ain't listening to this. But he's so lucky. Like it frustrates me, and it goes back to the Miles Garrett. It frustrates me. It's a multiple time offense, and you're still doing it. You have not learned. You have not learned from the past that maybe because and this should be a eye opener too. Like you rolled over, life probably flashed before your eyes, and you did that. I I I don't know. It, if you were, how do I put this? Like if you were once or twice, okay, hey, we'll work on it. Go get help, But at what point do you just stop driving, or stop, or work on your drinking? Because you're putting you put a lot of people at risk every time you do that. And I feel bad for the person that got into this wreck. They didn't ask for it. They were just probably moseying about their day, and got caught in the line of fire. Now, we haven't heard a public statement from Tiger Woods yet, unless I missed it, but we haven't, unless it comes out at the time this recording gets released. But so, what does he have to say for himself? What is he going to say? Oh, I'm sorry, blah blah blah. I'm going to work on it. Well, he had 3 other times to work on it, and this is what happens. Now, we all, get the help you need, dude. Like, call an Uber. Call driver. You have the money. I don't understand why you don't have a driver. Now, I get it. You want to be free. Most pros want to be free and drive themselves. That's great. But if you know you're drinking, just call somebody. Just Uber. Well, I know sometimes Uber might be a little, because they know who you are, and, might be a little tougher when Ubering, but hire a personal driver. Be like, hey, when I need you, I'll pay you. Come drive me around. I don't get it. I don't get it. And if I'm the PGA, at what point do you cut ties? What point do you cut ties with the PGA? Or if you're the PGA and be like, you know what, you've done this too many times, we're done. Because he was getting ready to play in the Masters, if I'm not mistaken. He was getting ready to play in the Masters. So now you're sitting here. You're like, well, there's the PGA. You're like, well, what do we do? Obviously, he's not going to play in it now, but, well, how do we keep this guy around? How do we keep this guy around? If I'm the PGA, how do we keep this guy around knowing he's did it? This is like almost the 4th time already, and he hasn't learned. I don't want my league to be associated with that anymore. He's past his prime. He had his run. And now, what a great tournament's going to be in the Masters in a couple of weeks. It's going to get a little, not much, a little overshadowed by this news. Because Tiger's supposed to be playing in it, supposedly. And now you got to deal with this. Especially when it's supposed to be a celebration. Pretty much golf Super Bowl. The Masters, if you're not a sports fan, but you're not a sports or golf fan, the Masters is pretty much like their Super Bowl of the year. They have like their 4 majors. This is like their Super Bowl. And now it's going to be overshadowed a teeny tiny bit because of Tiger Woods. If I was PJ, I'd be like, you're gone. Bye. We want nothing to do with you anymore. Now, I don't know if it's a contract or something, with the contract, I don't know how golf's contract works. If they can't technically, legally do it and be done or whatever, that's not, no. I don't have that knowledge. I'll probably look into that, but yeah, if you're PGA, if I'm Tiger, if I'm them, you got to go, Tiger. You're done. You can't have this around, especially the younger guys that are coming in, the younger guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, the guys that are doing it properly, the McIlroys, the Schefflers, the DeChambeaus, just everybody that is trying to do it right and is trying to just make money and trying to win tournaments, and then you got the stupidity of what he did. Now, granted, it's gonna the news with this is probably gonna settle down unless something happens in court. But at least at least next weekend's gonna be because next weekend's the Masters. It's gonna be overshadowed just a little bit, because now you gotta deal with this. Now I don't know who's gonna answer questions. We'll know that probably starting next week, leading up to it. Who will answer the questions? Like if they'll ask any golfers or if they'll ask any PGA people, but. It's frustrating. I mean, it's frustrating as a fan. I'm sure the golfers are not happy. I'm sure PGA's not happy. So, Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. You have it all, dude. You're willing to risk it all for stupidity, for selfishness. Selfishness. There you go. For just stupid stuff that you really don't have to do. You don't. I hope you get the help you need, my guy. I really hope you do get the help you need, because you definitely need it. And hopefully, maybe when PGA will work out a deal where you get through this and you come back maybe for one or couple more tournaments before you really hang him up. Maybe maybe you do hang it up here. I don't know. We don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure, in the coming days, weeks, months ahead what he decides to do. So it's going to be very interesting, I'll tell you that much, with the Masters, but I'm excited. It's going to be a great tournament for the Masters. We'll maybe dive into that a little bit next week, but we'll talk about that next week. All right, before we continue moving here, I want to send out a very, very special birthday to a very good friend of mine, Sean, as Sean's birthday was last Wednesday, but we were caught up in the live show and the comments and all that, and a couple of other news that came about if you watched the show last week. So Sean, we're pretty much brothers. Our dads coached hockey together. We played hockey together. Our moms are pretty much best friends. And Sean's an amazing guy. I can't say much good things. He's like a brother to me. Excuse me. And he's a great friend. He's a great brother. He's a great everything in between. And he's amazing. And I can't thank him enough for the impact he's made on my life and the impact he's made, I'm sure, on others. So, Sean, my guy, I love you, my brother. I hope you had a fantastic birthday, and I cannot wait to celebrate with you very, very soon down the road, and we'll celebrate your birthday then. So, happy birthday, my guy. Love you, love you, love you. All right, as we continue here on the final whistle. Let's continue on the final whistle, as there was some other news that kind of broke this past weekend. Well, not broke, but kind of just came out since last time we talked with you guys. LeBron James rumored he will not be back for the Lakers next year, as Cavs and Warriors are the possible destinations if he would decide to leave the Lakers. So, here we go again. We're on LeBron Watch 2026, summer 2026. What does LeBron decide to do? Does he come home, quote-unquote home? Does he stay in L.A. with the Warriors? Or L.A., California with the Warriors? Going to be very interesting. Very interesting to see where he goes. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. A lot of pushback on this, which is fine. I'll wear it. I'll wear the target. I'll wear the bullseye. I could care less if he comes back. I could care less. If he didn't come back, I wouldn't lose a bad sleep. Would I be happy he came back? Yeah. But I wouldn't want him back. I don't want him back. Because now you're going to have, at least right now, obviously it's going to change in the summer. You have Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, if he resigns. We still don't know if he's going to resign. Evan Mobley, Jared Allen would probably be your starting. That's if no one's traded or hasn't resigned. So that's your starting five. So then you got to push somebody to the bench. If Strus is around, how long does he stay? I think he's on an expiring deal of his contract, or next year's last year. Dean Wade, Sam Merrill. You got Jalen Tyson and Proctor. You would think one of those two guys are being moved. Or probably going to be moved if LeBron did decide to come back. What kind of contract will LeBron take? Will he take the minimum to come back and play here, or is he going to want money? Because now, if he wants the money, then because I think there's two situations here. He wants the money, or he takes the veteran minimum, league minimum, whatever it is. Because then there's two. There's two scenarios you go, but then what happens? Do you go? What do? Do you trade Jared Allen? Move Mobley to the 5, get a backup big in free agency or whatever? Or do you move one of you're probably moving one of your guards. Probably moving a Tyson or a Proctor, or maybe a Wade, Dean Wade or Sam Merrill. I mean, I love Max Strus. He could shoot. He could shoot the ball. He just has to stay healthy, that's all. If he could stay healthy, he's good. I like Max Strus. I'd rather keep him over the other 4. Get rid of maybe no. I think you're gonna have to move somebody because you got too many point guards. I mean, you got too many guards. I mean, you can't never have too many guards. But I just think with the way the roster is looking right now, you could probably be okay if you got rid of either Proctor or Tyson. And they're both hurt right now too. So this is gonna have a what's what I'm looking for. This is gonna have a ripple effect when LeBron does make a decision if he does come back home. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of bringing him back. But I'm not a big fan of him going to the Warriors either. He should just stay in LA then. But if he comes home, I will accept it. I'll be happy. I'll root. But he better not mess this roster up. He better not mess this up. Because look at the Lakers. Who are they going to have when LeBron leaves? Okay, you got Luka. Without looking, think about this. Without looking and Googling your phone, who's the Lakers roster minus LeBron and Luka? Minus LeBron and Luka. Who can you think of someone on the Lakers right now? Without looking at your phone, who's on the Lakers roster? Because I don't know off the top of my head. Besides Luka, those are two I really know. Is Austin Reeves still there? Austin Reeves? I don't even know if that's his right name. I don't think so. I don't even know. This is what LeBron does. He left, and now this is what it is. He leaves, he comes, he manages the roster and leaves it a mess. Poor Luka, he gets traded. His buddy's leaving. If it's true, his buddy's leaving. If I'm Luka, I'm like, well, you wanted me to get traded here, and you're leaving. I'll request for a trade if I was Luka. Get him out of LA. This is what I don't want. Y'all want LeBron back, but you guys don't understand the ramifications. Okay, LeBron plays 1 year, he's gone. Now let's just say Harden doesn't re-sign either. He doesn't re-sign and go somewhere else. Now there's rumors. Obviously, we don't know how true the rumors are that him and Mitchell are recruiting LeBron to come back. But let's just say, for instance, Harden doesn't sign. Okay, right? Harden doesn't sign. Then what? Because LeBron leaves after 1 year, because he retires or whatever. And Cavs are screwed. Now, will it push us over? We don't even know if this will push us over the hump to win. Especially how young the East is. Let me look at Detroit. They're in first. Detroit's in first. Boston's in second. Knicks are in third. Cavs are in fourth. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Cade Cunningham, what happens with him? He's got a collapsed lung right now for the Detroit Pistons. If he plays Detroit Pistons, has a collapsed lung. We don't know when he's going to come back. How will this affect the playoffs once we get going? I don't know. There's a ripple effect. The East is young. And now Boston brought their guys back. Tatum came back from his injury quicker than I think most people thought. So now you're in this spot where I don't know. I would pass on LeBron. It's just you better have a good roster plan once LeBron. Now, are you going to go into tank mode when LeBron does? Let's say he comes back and then he leaves after a year or so. Are you going into tank mode, or are you going to be back in still in compete mode? No, we're competing, but now we're competing. We just can't get over this hump. I, for instance, want to win a title without LeBron. I want to win one without him to prove that hey, we don't need LeBron to win. And I hope maybe it's this year, because I think if we don't win this year, we don't win next year. The coach is gone. I think your core four is getting, well, the core four has already been broken up, but I think you're getting rid of another core four piece, and your roster is going to look totally different and probably not in a good way. I know you guys want him back, and I know you guys want, to win. And I get it, I want to win too. But are you guys willing to tank for... Are you guys willing to tank if LeBron leaves in 2 years? Okay, we'll have, if Harden does sign, we'll have Harden. I think Mitch will be like one of his last years on his extension. Okay, you have him, but I don't know. That just scares me because look what happened when he left. When he left the first time, the roster was depleted. Look what happened when he left the second time, the roster was depleted. So there's a lot of ripple effects coming, I think. Now, if he goes to the Warriors, plays with Steph Curry for a year or two, and Draymond Green, they could be right back in a title picture. I mean, I think Warriors roster won't be affected as much as the Cavs would be. I don't think it won't be affected as much as the Cavs will be because no one's really hearing from the Warriors. I'm looking at the standings. I think the Warriors are in a play-in tournament. That's how far they've fallen. I'm just looking here. Let me look at the standings real quick. Let me look. Standings. Yeah, so the Warriors are 10th. That's how far they've fallen. They barely made it in. Luckily, Memphis, Pelicans, Dallas, Utah, Sacramento, they weren't anything. So they're in the play-in tournament. They're stuck in the play-in tournament. They're the 10th seed now, so they'll be playing, if the season ended today, they'll be playing Portland in the first round of the play-in tournament. So they can't get out. So they might even make the first round of the actual tournament or the playoffs. That's how far they've fallen. So if LeBron goes there, I really don't think that roster is affected more than the Cavs would be. Because I think if LeBron comes back, you're probably trading Mobley or Allen. Preferably Allen. And then maybe a guard if he wants money. But then you got to have a backup plan. I think we'll be able to judge more and talk more when we know if he comes back what the contract's going to be. Because I think that will kind of lay out the blueprint moving forward. Because who knows if this coach is going to be Kenny Atkinson. Who knows how long he's going to be here. If he doesn't make it this year, are they going to start over? They're going to get rid of Atkinson and hire a new coach that LeBron. I don't want LeBron touching this if he comes back. If I'm Kobe Altman, I don't want him touching this. I don't. I want to tell him, hey, this is my time, or this is our team. You could have input, but I make the final decision, and Dan Gilbert also makes the final decision. LeBron has no say. He has say, but he doesn't have the final say. That makes sense. He does not have a say. He has a say, but final say. He does not get to choose the roster. He can have input, but at the end, the GM and front office better make these decisions if LeBron comes back. Because if he doesn't, they let LeBron do this. It's Cavs fan. Us Cavs fans are in for a rude awakening when LeBron leaves. We're gonna be back to where we were before he came back the second time, and after the first time he left, and we're gonna be back to tanking and barely making the play-in tournament. I'm telling you right now, and y'all don't see that now, but when it happens, I'm gonna be right here saying I told you so. Because that's what's going to happen. And you all could make fun of me and be like, oh, no, that's not going to be the case. But, You guys got to open your eyes. Open your eyes. You want LeBron back, but it's going to be at a price. It's going to be at a cost of probably tanking. Well, now they're working on tanking rules. Of probably not finishing in the play-in tournament. Let's put in that. Play-in tournament. We're going to go back to play-in tournament or bust. If LeBron comes back for a year and he leaves, you better have a good roster. You better have a decent roster that you can kind of build around if LeBron does leave. Because if you don't, you're in for a rude awakening. And you could be like, oh, you hate LeBron. Do I hate LeBron for what he did? Yes. He could have stayed here. Could have ran through the East each and every single year. But he went to Miami. Came back. Won a championship. Went to L.A. Why would he go to L.A.? Why would he go to Miami? What's down there? Because he could party with his buddies? Hang with his buddies? Or he can't fathom to be... He had to take over somebody's spotlight. Miami, Dwayne. That's Dwayne's team in Miami. It's not his team. L.A. The late, great Kobe Bryant. That's his team. Why do you have to go to L.A.? Because he knows... Well, I think LeBron's better than D-Wade, but I think he knows Kobe's better than him. So he had to outshine him. He had to go to L.A. He didn't have to go to L.A. He knows Kobe's better than him. Kobe wouldn't have done that. Kobe was so loyal. He was staying in L.A. He retired a Laker. He was so loyal. D-Wade was loyal. Well, Dwayne went to the Cavs, but that was in his prime. But he came back with his buddy. But still. D-Wade didn't go to Cleveland to be the center of attention. He went to go play, around his career with his buddy and all that, which is fine. He wasn't the center of attention. Like this fool LeBron is. He didn't have to go to L.A. Why? Because he didn't have to go to L.A. Why? Because he wanted to be closer to his son, Bronny, who stinks, who's awful, his brother Bryce will probably be better than him. I think Bronny does have no future in the NBA. He's got to get big. He's got to bulk up. He should probably still stay in college one more year. But if he doesn't, it's going to be a failure. And people brought up some good points to me. If this was not LeBron's son, we would never hear of him. He'll be in G League forever. So, a lot of ramifications coming down the pike. And if LeBron does make this move back to Cleveland, y'all better hope that when he leaves, this roster is still in good shape to compete. Because if it's not, y'all, it's going to be a long couple years. It might be, it's going to be an interesting offseason, that's for sure. What we do with James Harden, what we do with, like I mentioned, what we do with the two bigs, what we do with a couple guards we got. So, hang on your straps. Because LeBron comes back, there's going to be a lot of questions. More than answers. Questions are going to be, where's he going to go? How's he going to play it? What happens to the roster? Because if he messes with this roster, you better kiss NBA Finals goodbye after he leaves. Because we ain't getting there. I'll tell you right now. You all should know how the NBA works by now. Compared to other sports. You all should know. I'm just saying that because I've seen it. And sometimes y'all don't see it. You guys don't want to see it, don't want to admit it. But it's right there. I'm going to tell you. We do not make the play-in tournament once LeBron leaves. Or, I should say play-in tournament or bust when LeBron leaves. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I will admit that I'm wrong. I've admit that I'm wrong about a lot of things I've said on this show and sports talk in general. I'll admit it. I'll definitely admit it. But I've been wrong a lot about the NBA. Because I've seen it. No one really cares about the NBA season until the playoffs, which start in a couple weeks. So, hope you're all ready, because it'll be a roller coaster of a ride with the Cavs and the trickle effect it may have come later in the summer. All right, as the aforementioned, Kate Cunningham has as other news kind of wrap up today's show. Kate Cunningham has a collapsed lung, out for an extended period of time Kate Cunningham from the Detroit Pistons out for an extended period of time. So, and we'll see, because now Pistons are going into big boy basketball. Now they have a coach in JB Bickerstaff who's been through the playoffs, knows what it takes to get there. The roster really hasn't, though. So, what kind of pressure are they going to be facing? Knowing, who knows when there's. I wouldn't be surprised by the playoffs he is back, maybe, but he's still got to get his conditioning up. And it's been interesting because right now they would have to play the Cavs the second round if they would beat the 8th seed, which will be decided by the playing tournament. So this would be a very interesting first and second round for Detroit Pistons. You would think Cunningham would be back at some point during this game, or some point during the stretch, but the collapse long, it's hard to come back from. You just got to feel for him, though. And, I got to give credit to the Pistons. They've come on this year. They've come out strong. And look, they're in first place in the East. They pretty much clinched the division almost. I think another loss or two in their divisions there. They'll probably clinch the 1 seed. I think Boston only behind by 3 games, though. So that's going to be decided probably in the next couple weeks or so. I'm just going to look at the standings real quick here. Don't mind if I do. 4 games. Cavs are 8 in a conference. So the Cavs would be playing the Toronto Raptors right now if the season ended today. Detroit would be waiting the play-in tournament. Boston would be playing the wait-in tournament. New York would have to play Atlanta. So there is a lot to be decided. So we will break this all down for you next week, or break this all down. We get closer to an NBA playoff preview, along with an NHL playoff preview. Can't wait for that in a couple weeks. But yeah, so can the Pistons run? I mean, they've been off to a hot start. Cunningham's one of the best shooters in the Eastern Conference, and they just gotta. They've been winning without him, though, but it's going to take. Playoffs a different animal. Yeah, you could see the regular off season or regular season where it's really just backyard basketball. And granted, the All-Star game. The All-Star game is just pathetic, as we've explained here on this show. But when you lose your star player, it's tough. Now, granted, if this was any other sport, team's probably struggling right now, but they're not struggling because that's the NBA for you. I'm surprised they're not struggling a little bit, but they're still winning. That's credit to JB Bickerstaff. That's credit to the players, the roster they've been building. And you get the number 1 seed, it's tough. Now they got to hold it. Cavs are 1 seed. They were 4 seed the past couple of years. So this will be a really, really interesting stretch for the Pistons until he comes back. But when will he come back, though? That's going to be the main question. Does he come back for the play? Does he come back first round? Does he wait second round? Because, running up and down that court, you're going to have to get that conditioning in. A lot of conditioning, because you're going to need that. Now depends, will he be on a minutes restriction when he comes back? Which will probably be a thing, I would think, especially with a major injury like that. Probably be on minutes restriction. So, but no, prayers to him. He's been through it, and we just he's been through it, and that just collapsed on. That just sucks. We never want to see anybody get hurt, especially something like this. So, especially rival or not, division or not. So we just hope he does well in his recovery. It seems like no other news has come out of it, so he's obviously doing very well for his leggings. So we'll see. Can he still make it to play the playoffs? We'll have to see. But Cade Cunningham is out for at least the time being. He could come back and surprise us all like Jason Tatum did. So we'll see how that goes in the time being. All right, well, that was pretty much it for today. We appreciate you, as we have a lot coming up here. We don't want to spoil it in case it does not work out. So we've got a lot to come, as we have We have a good show lined up next week, we hope. We hope if it goes the way as the topic, you guys are, I think your sports fans that are kind of watch our diehard watchers will understand when we bring it up. But we just want to. I think regardless, if you're gonna like it. It's a thing we talked about, and you guys are gonna relate to it a lot. It's we don't want to spoil the topic. We want you to come back and see what it is. So, but you guys will like it. I think we're gonna make a shot of it, and we'll probably add some other news and notes in there as well. We'll probably talk a little bit about the final. Well, I don't know if we'll probably talk about the Final Four in 2 weeks when it's all said and done, so that we can just wrap it up and go from there. But yeah, so we got that, and then we have a special guest coming on. Hopefully, we got to settle, make that we get, and at least not special guest. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But he's going to be coming on in a couple weeks. Yeah, about 2. I'm trying to think. Yeah, 2 weeks. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, he'll be on to talk NHL playoffs, the NHL playoffs, and NBA playoffs. We'll probably do a week. We have one special guest for sure going to come on, hopefully, and then the second one we're still working on getting him back on. So we are very excited for the weeks ahead. And don't forget, our live show is April 29th, Wednesday, April 29th. More than likely 9 o'clock. Could change, but that's the plan. I'm thinking that's the plan. We're going with 9 o'clock, April 29th. April 29th for the next show. And then for we'll have the NFL draft. We'll have the NFL draft, and then we'll be into May. Before you know it, we're starting April off hot, and we'll be into May before we know it. All right, folks. Well, I thank you for joining me and putting up with me for the hour. It's been fun. I hope you learned a lot. You probably didn't, but that's okay. Please, please, please have a happy Easter. Stay safe. Be smart this weekend. Don't be stupid. And we will talk to you. Mark will be back next week. We will talk the very special episode, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, and much more. And if anything else breaks, we'll be on it. So, and maybe do an emergency one if the big news warrants. But all right, I'm out. I'm Kyle. We will see you next week for another edition of the Final Whistle.